I remember sitting in my English class in my junior year, and I was trying to sleep with my hands under my chin, you know the drill. And I was being hypnotized by the ticking and the talking of the clock and its quicksandish countdown to liberation. And I remember checking my fluorescent green beeper to see who'd be paging me. It was 1991, and cell phones weren't invented yet. We only had car phones back then, but they were like the size of a loaf of bread, and they cost thousands of dough. So, you know, for the average Joe, pagers, you know, were cutting edge technology. And so, you know, I pretended to be Big Pimpin' with my beeper, and as I was sitting there, you know, Mr. Westbrook, because I would check it all the time, even when I know it wasn't going off. You know, I'd be like that in class. But Mr. Westbrook, I remember he called my name. And as he called my name, he said, "Jonathan, gather up your things, you're going home." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm going home?" He says, "You know, you're going home." And so as I took the pass down there, it said, "Mother here." And I thought, oh my gosh, like what's going on? You know, was someone hurt? You know, did someone die? I mean, I couldn't imagine why else in the world my mother would pull me out of school. So I get there and she has that look on her face, you know, and I know that I'm in trouble. You know the look. And well, the police had called after tracing my license plate number. Enough said. Yikes. Okay, so you see what had happened was, my girlfriend had just broke up with me for her ex-boyfriend, and I was not a happy camper. So my friend and I, we put on some hoodies, we went to the store, we bought a carton of eggs, we drove to her work, and splattered the living heck out of her pretty little red Trans Am. And oh, it felt so good. And no one would ever find out, right? Wrong. So Mom was upset about the eggs and the police, and Mama Hen, you know, she had her feathers all ruffled up. And I remember thinking as we walked down the hall, oh, this could be bad. This could be really bad. You know, I'm an honor student. You know, I don't get in trouble with the police. You know, how is she going to react? What was she going to do? What was she going to say? I mean, would she pull the ear completely off or just halfway? You know, as we step deeper into Lent, deeper into the wilderness, you know, we begin to realize that the wilderness can be eerily silent. You know, and when you are in the midst of your journey and your struggles and the challenges that are in your life, that quietness gives way to all kinds of thoughts. Like, how did I get here? Where did I go wrong? What do I do now? And this is one of the reasons, you know, that Lent is characterized, you know, by this time of self-examination, that time to hold up the mirror, a time, you know, a call to like personal truth. I mean, it's that call to look at yourself with fresh eyes, you know, to see your footprints, you know, more clearly. And especially the ones that led you to this Lenten place that you are going through. You know, we begin to think about our circumstances in that silence. We think about, you know, the people involved. You think about how you affect each other. You know, how maybe your actions cause them to fall into their own wilderness. And also how they help lead you into yours. You see, life could be just so peaceful, but we are just so intertwined with people. In fact, people are the cause of all friction and contention in your life and in this world. That's the truth. If you think about it, it's true. So more likely, whatever it is that you have struggled with or are struggling with, it's related to people in your life. And short shooting, after the busyness of the day fades, the stillness of your mind remains. And the wilderness calls. It calls whether you want it to or not. Sometimes, you know, when you lay down at night, you know, to your frustrations, thoughts begin to just kind of take over. They kind of like a boogeyman hacker, just gone wild, bringing stuff in that you don't want to think about. You begin to think about these things. You think about these people, this wilderness that you are both in. It's when the relationships in our life are strained that we are most off kilter. Oftentimes it's because, you know, those people that we love so much do horrendous things. They do horrendous things. Sometimes it's crazy, senseless things. Sometimes big, sometimes small, but things that disappoint us in a really big way. We feel hurt. We feel betrayed. We feel crushed. And so as you sit here, you know, I know in your mind right now that you can think of someone important to you who has disappointed you. It may have been this week, or it may have been years ago. But either way, it's still there. The boogeyman hacker won't let it go. But now when people, do these thoughtless things in our life, it makes that fox inside of us come alive. We get angry. And our first instinct is to lash out. And so we snap at each other like a fox baring teeth. We yell and stomp and we lay it all out there. Oh, we empty the chamber, no holds barred. You're going to know we be mad, and you're going to know why. It's true. And it's that human nature to do those kinds of things. And why do we get angry? Well, sometimes it's build up, you let me down again. Sometimes I think most of the reasons I think we get upset because we just have such great expectations for the people that we love. For the covenants that we've made with them, we have great expectations. We want things to be perfect. Oh my gosh, if we were just perfect people. So what happens when we get mad? Well, it depends, on how mad and how long the anger lasts. Some people can hold a grudge for weeks or years. You know who you are. But when we have unresolved, prolonged effects of that anger, even if quietly on the inside, it causes a silent strife to worm its way in, like a fox lurking unseen in the trees. There becomes a distance between each other. Moments are lost, opportunities are lost, and joy is forgotten. And all because of mistakes, because of shattered expectations, of angry reactions. But let's not kid ourselves. This is Lynn. We let people down in our lives too. We let people down. Sometimes we don't measure up, and too many times it is us who are most upset with ourselves for the things that we've done. We become our worst critics, and the fox comes alive and bares its teeth on itself because we get angry at us. We get mad that we did something that is not who we know and want ourselves to be. Letting yourself down can be disappointing and it can be infuriating. As we look at the gospel today, we find a lot of fox behavior. The baring of teeth, we find the lashing out at others. As we step into the Word, Jesus is making his way to Jerusalem through the towns and through the villages. He's teaching the people as he travels. He tells them about how things should and how they could be. He gives them parables and stories and tales about mustard seeds, about fig trees, and about faith. He is healing crippled women and others who were in need. He is telling them all as he goes, only a few of you will go through this narrow, narrow door. And he says, and that the last shall be first, and that the first shall be last. Now, those are considered last. Those people that are considered last are hearing this message. And what unspeakable and unimaginable joy. What unexpected freedom that brings. To be condemned for so long by everyone, to be outcast, and then to have this Son of God, this prophet, this amazing teacher come through and tell you that you are worthy and that you are loved. It's good stuff. It's stuff that we go through as a community and in our lives. People have told us stuff for so long, but again, Jesus travels then and he travels now saying, you are worthy. So these people were sinners, they were outcasts, they were poor, they were hungry. That's who the last were in the story. But the firsts were also hearing this message. They were the religious leaders, the scribes, the Pharisees. And so what do you think happens when the first hear a message that they will now become last? That don't go over so well. And so the fox's ears go up and they begin to prepare for a cunning battle. And so the Pharisees, they kind of overhear what he's saying, and so they come over to him and they say, hey, Mr. Man, you better get out of here because Herod is trying to kill you. And I just thought you should know. Just wanted to let you know. Well, bless their hearts, how nice of them. Now, if I remember correctly, you spend the entire New Testament trying to kill him. So why would you care if Herod does? Now, at this moment, I'm not sure who is being more foxy or fox-like, Herod or the Pharisees. I mean, clearly, Herod is lashing out. He's showing his teeth. He is ready to attack. And Herod Antipas is the ruler of this area. After his father died, he received a quarter of the great kingdom, which lands him in many of our New Testament stories. So Herod is the king of the Jews. And when someone else goes around claiming to be king of kings, of course things are going to get a little prickly. So it seems the religious leaders have joined forces with Herod because Jesus, he's going around, he's healing, he's talking, he's stirring the pot, and he's pulling that power. And he's pulling authority away from those foxes who have it. And they don't like that. And so they're in cahoots and they're trying to get rid of Jesus. Now, this threat that he is making, it really is truly real, you guys. I mean, Herod is the one who beheaded John the Baptist and paraded his head on a platter around a party. Yeah, it's real. So Jesus, hears them say that Herod is trying to kill him. And he looks Pharisees in the eye and he defiantly says, "You go tell that fox that I am going to press on in spite of him. I'm going to keep teaching and healing today and tomorrow and the day after that. And then the day after that. You go tell that fox that his words and actions have no power in my kingdom. And besides, prophets cannot die outside of Jerusalem." You see, Jesus understands when and where his death is to happen. It isn't outside Jerusalem where they were, but it was inside the holy city. As Jesus speaks these words, I guess it causes him to kind of turn his attention to the people of Jerusalem, and he begins to remember how for centuries the Israelites have killed the very men that God had sent to them as divine messengers. Isaiah came and preached, and they sawed him in half. Jeremiah also preached, but was stoned to death. Ezekiel also preached. He too was killed, with Micah and Amos too. So Jesus, he knows Israel's, turbulent and sorrowful history. And so when he hears now that the leaders in Jerusalem are now after him, it's almost too much for him. His heart grieves, oh so greatly. He laments. I mean, his words are so thick with heartbreak. His words are thick with disappointment. And he's just, you can feel it. He says, "Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you who kill the prophets and you who stone the men that God sends. Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Even though God calls, my heart breaks because you are unwilling." Now, in this moment, the very people that Jesus has come to save are rejecting him. They are trying to kill him, or at the very least refusing to follow him. You see, they have let him down in a big way. A big way. Jesus has given up so much, and he knows all the more to come that he will have to give up. And this is how they treat him. You see, in this moment, Jesus has every reason to be angry, every reason to lash out, every reason to show fox-like behavior, every reason to bare his teeth a little bit. So, to snarl back in return would be natural and justified because that is what people are giving to him. Now, he has every reason to be angry, but don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. We know Jesus can get mad. Remember, he flipped over some tables all crazy wild in the temple. He formed a whip out of some cords and he drove the money changers out. Jesus can get mad. So we know that anger is a possibility for him, or that type of reaction. So the foxes, they kind of stare on and they wait. What will happen? What will Jesus do? How will he respond? So Jesus, still speaking grievingly and longingly, says, "Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, even though you are unwilling, even though you show me no kindness, even though you disappoint me, even though you break my heart, still I long to gather you together like a mother hen gathers her chicks under her wings. Oh, Jerusalem, I want you under my wing." And it's moments like these that just make me love Jesus even more. Just to know that he loves me so much. To know that when the foxes came, that he continued to love them, that he continued to long for them, just as he longs for me today and for you. I know that if someone told me, "Hey, Pastor John, Westboro Baptist Church is trying to kill you. You better get out of here. I'd say, see you later. I gotta go. But Jesus is not afraid of the foxes. Jesus is not afraid of the city that kills the prophets. The city that kills people like him. The city that will kill him. Yet still he goes. Not even King Herod's threats could keep him from coming to save you and me. The mother hen would do anything for her chicks, even when they disappoint her. As we think about the people in our lives, as you think about the people in your lives, the people who've hurt you, the people who have let you down, Jesus is showing us today that we have a choice. We don't have to let the fox out. We don't have to bare teeth when those people hurt us or when they let us down. You see, Jesus is calling us to something greater. He's calling us to this place of warmth, this place of safety, a place of forgiveness. And it's a place that's tucked snug right underneath his wing. We must be his chicks. We must learn from our mother hen how to treat people, how to react when life comes at you. So what if? What if you followed Jesus' lead, and instead of showing anger, what if you instead just opened your arms wide and welcomed them back in? What if? How might the tension in you be eased? In order to do this, there is something that you must have on both sides of your relationship. And that is the feathery forgiveness that comes from the cross. Now, I know it's harder than it sounds, but what you need to know right now is that forgiveness has absolutely nothing to do with being right. You don't have to agree in order to forgive one another. It's about mending. So either you can be right or you can mend and be happy. In the gospel today, Jesus would not be moved from his mission, nor should you be moved from your newfound mission today. And that mission is to open your wings wider and wider, welcoming and warming, especially when the people that you love show their imperfections. This world is so filled with foxes, which is why Mount Calvary stands here today. We are standing here with our wings spread wide, providing a safe place to fall. We are spreading our wings wide for the chickadees that need us. We are spreading our wings wide for those kicked to the curb by family and churches. We are spreading our wings wide for the kids that contemplate suicide. For the questioning souls alone in their room, we spread our wings wide. We spread our wings wide for those who mock us, those who condemn us, those who speak ill of us. Still, we spread our wings wide. Even though Jesus calls us to love our enemies, but you see, I don't consider them our enemies. That's how wide. In John chapter 10, Jesus is clear. I lay down my life for all my sheep. Even the ones not in the same pen, I must bring them also. A mother hen would do anything for her chicks. And I love that we have this motherly image of Jesus because his love is much like a mother's love. Back at school, it turns out that day that mom didn't pull my ear all the way off. She touched it a little bit, but she didn't pull it off. But she held me, she was stern, but she was soft. She was ensuring that I understood the implications of what I did, how it made her feel. Called me to imagine how it made my ex and her family feel. Mom just had a knack for that. And I thought, why did you pull me out of school? Because she wanted to remedy it now. She wanted to tell me that it was okay, that she loved me, but that I was wrong. And it was always safe and warm under her wing. And, Jesus' love is like that times a million. A million. A while ago, there was a fire in Yellowstone Park, and as they were kind of scouring over the burnt landscape, they came across a hollowed seared tree that was kind of halfway seared. And they saw that a hen had perished in the fire. And so when they went to remove her body, to their surprise, 3 little golden chicks had survived and popped out from underneath. You see, that mother hen had covered them with her wings when the fire came. That is a mother's love. That is That is Christ's love upon us. You know that whenever the fire is coming in your life, that He will spread His wings, that He will cover you, knowing that He will perish, still He will cover you. And so the truth is in the gospel today that we are all barnyard chicks lost in a storm. You know, and unlike the foxes in today's story, we must be not too afraid, not too stubborn to crawl under His motherly wing, nor should we be too begrudging to offer our wings once again.